What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for playpicks.com and thelines.com. I'm going to take a look at this Sunday night football game between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Before you go anywhere, please hit that subscribe button right here on the page. Everything is free, not only at the Lines, but at PlayPicks as well, and of course on this YouTube channel. So going to fire off as much good information as we can, so please hit that subscribe button. Also like the video and let us know in the comments how you are looking to play this game. Let's take a look here at what we've got going on with the betting lines in this game. Looking over here, we have, this is at DraftKings. We got the Eagles +3, Cowboys -3, 49.5 sitting as the total. 130 on the money line for the Eagles, 148 on the money line for the Cowboys. Over here on FanDuel, we'll take a look. We're sitting at 3 on both sides. You can see it's juiced Eagles though at +3 right here. Could this thing move to 3.5? Don't know, but you can see you got to pay the extra juice over here. 49.5 as well, 134 on the comeback over on FanDuel if you're looking to do that. Of course, you can head to thelines.com if you want the full kind of written preview here. You just head up to NFL and click on SNF, and that is what you'll see kind of right here. I'll leave it on this right now so you can just kind of take a look at what's going on. Pretty heavily juiced as well over here on DraftKings at 122 for this Eagles. So perhaps we will see this thing head back down to 2.5 here. We will, looks like the East Coast over there is loving themselves some Eagles. If you do want the Cowboys, I mean, you're getting plus money actually over here at DraftKings. Full written write-up over at PlayPicks as well. So be sure and head over there if you want to take a look at that. As far as weather goes in this thing, of course, it's at Jerry's World. So nothing that you need to worry about there. Eagles 3-3 overall, 1-2 on the road, 2-4 against the spread, coming off a pretty good thumping at the hands of the Vikings if you watch that game. But before that, they did win back-to-back games at the Jets and the Packers, so they were trying to kind of right the ship there. Eagles coach says that they are going to win the game. If you did not see this right here, Doug Peterson said on sports radio over there, we're going down to Dallas and our guys are going to be ready to play and we're going to win that football game. And when we do, we're in first place in the NFC East. Hey, you got to love the confidence there, but pretty interesting that he decided to go that route with all that. Cowboys 3-3 overall, 2-1 at home, 3-3 against the spread overall. They start off 3-0 against that cupcake schedule, bottom feeders, Giants, Redskins, and Dolphins. Now they've lost 3 in a row to the Saints, Packers, and Jets. So you can see once they got into an actual good part of their schedule, then that's when you were seeing this Cowboys team really start to struggle. As far as injuries go, on the Eagles side, Deshaun Jackson's out. Avonte Maddox is out. Ronald Darby is questionable. Obviously would be huge if he would be able to get back out there for this team. On the Cowboys side of the ball, all kinds of injuries here. You can see 5 Cowboys listed as questionable here. This is according to Adam Schefter. Amari Cooper, Randall Cobb, Tyron Smith, Lyle Collins, and Byron Jones. He does say they're all expected to play. However, that being said, all of these guys were only able to get one limited practice in this week on Friday. So even if these guys do go, you're going to be looking at some guys that are pretty hobbled in this thing right here. Eagles offense, and I will scroll a little bit if you want to continue to read along here. Eagles offense averaging 26.8 points a game, 349.3 yards per game, 5.3 yards per play. So not doing real great on a yards per play aspect. Pass about 58% of the time. 5th graded pass blocking unit according to Pro Football Focus. The top rated run blocking unit according to Pro Football Focus. Converting 50% of their third down so far this year. So really, really good from that aspect. On the Cowboys side, Cowboys offense averaging 25.5 points per game, 443.8 yards per game. But remember those cupcake games that are mixed into the schedule here, 6.8 yards per play, passing on about 55.7% of their plays. 7th best pass blocking grade according to Pro Football Focus, and 3rd best run blocking grade. So this offensive line, as we talked about, continues to be really, really good. But remember, 2 of those guys are questionable. While it does look like they're going to play, certainly won't be 100% in this thing, converting 50.7% of their third downs. Scroll a little bit here if you want to read along. As far as pace of play, Philly 11th in situation neutral pace per game, and Dallas is 6th. So you can see in the upper 12 for both of these teams, Dallas inside the top 6 there. Eagles 8th in plays per game, Cowboys 11th in plays per game. So if we're just taking those raw numbers that we're looking at right there, this could be actually a little bit faster paced game when all is said and done. Of course, that's all things being equal with these offenses being healthy and whatnot. On the Eagles defense side here, allowing 24.8 points per game, 353 yards per game, 16th rated defense overall by Pro Football Focus. So dead center according to Pro Football Focus. They do have the 6th rated pass rush though, according to Pro Football Focus, which could certainly come into play here because as we've seen, when Dak Prescott has a whole bunch of time to throw, he looks like a really good NFL quarterback. And then when pressure gets applied to him, man, things really, really go south for Dak Prescott. So if they're able to utilize this pass rush, this Eagles team could make it pretty tough on him. 20th graded coverage grade, according to Pro Football Focus. If we head over to DVOA, 13th ranked defense overall by DVOA, 19th ranked pass defense, and number 2 rated rush defense, according to DVOA. So could find some tough sledding there for Ezekiel Elliott and company going up against this Philadelphia Eagles front. Cowboys defensive side of the ball here, and actually I'll flip over to play picks here if you want to read along as to what Eston thinks about this over here. Cowboys defense averaging, they're allowing only 19 points per game so far this year, 331.8 yards per game, 14 rated defense overall, according to Pro Football Focus. Number 25, though, according to DVOA. So depending on which one you like better there, DVOA has them way down, has them 23rd in pass defense and has them 19th in rush defense. So DVOA really does not like this Cowboys defense one bit here. So let's go ahead and take a look at these lines again. Let's make a case for the under if we wanted to do that. So we got 49.5 at both places, so it doesn't really matter where you want to play it. So we'll just stick here at DraftKings. We want to make a case for the under. I think a case for the under one is if any of these major pieces of this Cowboys offense can't go, as we've seen. I mean, this team, you only have to look back to last week, right? And to see how inept they can actually look without these guys out on the field. I mean, when you look, if Amari can't go, for example, Dak Prescott did not complete a single pass over 20 yards last week. Of course, Amari Cooper being kind of that downfield threat for him, a guy that's been a big play receiver for him. And if he's not out there, wasn't able to do that at all. He will have Michael Gallup, but of course, Michael Gallup is no Amari Cooper at all. We also could see an under if both teams get running games going, despite the fact that Philadelphia is really tough against the run. We know what this Dallas Cowboys team wants to do almost to a fault. We saw in the Saints game run Ezekiel Elliott, pound him into that really tough Saints front 18 times in that game to the tune of 1.9 yards per carry, but they didn't give a damn. They just kept pounding him over and over and over again. So maybe that could be, if these teams get stubborn, just decide they're going to run the ball no matter what. Another thing could just be Dak has not looked very good the last 3 weeks. He's actually looked pretty bad the last 3 weeks. And so maybe the Cowboys just try to limit him. Maybe they go slower instead of running that up pace offense like we were saying. Maybe they try to slow things down, maybe not get him to the line as often. Maybe try to, let's not say hide Dak Prescott in this game, but maybe they try to keep the ball out of his hands as many times as they've been putting it in his hands so far this season. Now let's make a case for the over here. If we want to head up to, say we want over 49.5 in this thing. Look, Carson Wentz has had 17 passes dropped so far this season. That is tops in the NFL. You got to think that there's some positive regression coming here for that. And these guys actually start holding on to catchable passes that he's throwing them. And of course, catchable passes means they keep moving the chains and or score. I mean, there were a couple of touchdowns. Nelson Aguilar just straight whiffed 2 different surefire touchdown passes. We've seen some other guys on this Eagles team drop really key first downs where we would have kept drives alive and all of that. So, I mean, you got to think that positive regression could be coming on that side of the ball, which of course could lead to more points for this Eagles team. Of course, we're looking at also an Eagles team that is getting a little bit healthier. They still without Deshaun Jackson, but this receiving core was completely in shambles there just a couple weeks ago, but now they're kind of getting things back together here. And certainly Alshon Jeffrey being healthy is a big thing as well. So certainly a much healthier team here on the, at least from the pass catching side of the ball, which certainly could help this thing get to the over as well. And then of course, if you believe DVOA, this Dallas Cowboys defense just isn't very good. And if that's the case, then the Eagles should be able to put up at least their season average in points, and if not exceed that against this Cowboys team as well. And if you believe in the pace statistics that we've seen so far this year, another thing that could lead to the over is both of these teams tend to run situation neutral. They tend to run their offense pretty fast in situation neutral situations. And then also they run a lot of plays per game. Both of these teams are running tons of plays per game as well. So, obviously if you're playing faster and running more plays, then there's more chance to score. Could get to the over in this thing. Taking a look at player props here. If you're looking at doing any of the player props, look, touchdown scorer. And if you're talking about anytime touchdown, if you believe that the Cowboys are going to get in the end zone at all, Zeke, you are having to pay a pretty big price here, but pretty sure that Zeke will get in the end zone at some point in this game. And then if you also want to kind of like look here, Dak Prescott has called his own number. We've seen him call his own number several times here. Pretty interesting odds to get 15-1 for him being the first touchdown scorer. If they were able to get inside the 2-yard line or something like that, we've certainly seen Dak Prescott kind of line up as if he's going to pass and then run some sort of draw or something. So something we could at least consider, something we could at least look at there on that. And then coming down and looking at some of these yardage totals here, Dak Prescott really high at 289.5, but as we just talked about, this Philadelphia Eagles defense, the way you get to them is through the air, not on the ground. Number 2 rated defense. There's coverage unit way down at 20th, 21st, 22nd, something like that, depending on which rating system you believe in. We know that they are still injured in the secondary as well. So looking at this one could be an over type situation for that. Rush yards for Ezekiel Elliott at 80. I'm kind of almost leaning towards the under here, just for the strict fact that, like we were saying, if you assume rational coaching, which with Jason Garrett, maybe that's not what I should be doing, but if you assume rational coaching, you attack this team through the air, not on the ground. And so, at the very least, if you go about how you should go about it, it seems like Ezekiel Elliott under on the rushing yards. Hasn't made my account yet, but might as I dig in just a little bit further in this thing. And then up here for total receiving yards, if you believe in this team having some success against this Cowboys secondary, Alshon Jeffrey and over of 62 yards seems like a really good look to me in this thing as well. Of course, all the prop bets here you can take a look at. And if you want to also, one of the things you can also do here on DraftKings, you can click stats and then you can click betting trends. And if you want to take a look at just how this line has moved and total has moved over the course of the week, you can take a look here and you can see how this thing has really been bouncing all over the place to get to where it's at right now. You can see tons and tons of movement here just over the last week. As little, as down to as little as 1 and then sitting at 3 where it is right now. So we've seen a bunch of movement on the total over here. You can see it when it opened a week ago, sitting at 48, gotten as high as 49.5, then got back down to 48.5. And then of course, where we sit right now at 49.5. How am I going to go about betting this game, guys? Let's start with the total in this thing at 49.5. One of the things that we've continued to see, week after week after week after week is with these island games. This is a Sunday night game. With these island games is the public comes in and wants to bet the over. Nobody likes to root for defense. And so they come in and they want to bet the over in this thing. If this thing continues to move up, I'm going to play the under here, and strictly for the reason that both of these teams are banged up. Both of these teams are nicked up here. And I think that when you're working with, it seems like these guys from the Cowboys are going to try to give it a go, but I don't even know if that's for the best, because if you're out there at 70%, are you really that much better or more effective than the guy that's behind you sitting on the bench over there? And especially from an offensive line standpoint for this Cowboys team, one of the strengths of Philadelphia is actually their pass rush in the front here. And you're going to have a bunch of, a couple of gimpy offensive linemen out there for the Cowboys. And so I think that the Eagles can make it a rough day on Dak Prescott back there. And if that's the case, then, they're not going to be scoring a ton of points here. So I hope this thing gets up to 50.5, maybe even 51, depending on how many people come in, start chasing this thing. And if that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and play the under. I still have a pretty decent lean to the under, even at 49.5 here. I already have Eagles +3 in my account. I was fortunate enough to get that without all this juice a little bit earlier in the week. It looks like this thing's going to move back down to 2.5 fairly soon. So if you're looking to play the Eagles at 3, then you might want to go ahead and get it, but you are going to have to pay the juice. If you want the Cowboys, I think you can go ahead and hold just for a little bit, and you'll be able to get them at 2.5 in pretty short order here. As you can see, I mean, it's juiced at both places pretty good, and they'll, as we mentioned, this island game, going to have a lot of people come in and start betting on this thing. And so it'll probably get off of that 3 back on to the 2.5 here. Do you want to make that Eagles at 2.5? If it does get to 2.5 and you're not able to get down on the 3, do you want to make that Eagles 2.5 part of a teaser leg? Don't hate that either. Getting them up to 8.5. I actually think the Eagles probably win this game outright. I'll probably sprinkle a little bit on the money line as well. But if this thing does get to 2.5, I could certainly see myself putting this as part of a teaser leg as well, teasing this Eagles team up to 8.5, where I just believe that, superior quarterback play, superior coaching for sure, a little bit healthier than this Cowboys team as well. And this Cowboys team's just been in shambles. And I don't know if they're going to be able to really get this train back on the tracks here in just a week here, like what Carson Wentz has done with this beat up receiving core. He's actually been one of the top rated passers over at Pro Football Focus, despite having to throw to a bunch of backups. And I think that he's kind of coming into his own here as well. Eagles, I believe, in this Eagles team, got this in my account pretty early in the week, actually. So again, lean towards the under here, especially if this number starts to tick up here. Already have Eagles +3 in my account. Do not hate an Eagles +8.5 teaser leg should this thing go ahead and move to 2.5, which it looks fairly likely to do here sometime soon. Guys, also take advantage of those player props out there. If you have a good read on how this game is going to go, sides and totals, sometimes pretty hard to beat, pretty efficient markets, but those player props are something that you can certainly look at. So if you believe how this game is going to play out a certain way, you can definitely go and attack those player props as well. Thanks for watching. Again, head over to the lines right here and be sure and take advantage of, all of these sportsbook offers that we have up here. I mean, if you're going to play over in Jersey or in Pennsylvania or something like that, you might as well take advantage of the free money because they're giving it to you. So you might as well take it. We have the best offers there is on the internet, free, risk-free bets. I mean, up to $500, you can bet for up to $500 and you can't lose. I mean, just all of these different ways that you can take advantage of the promotions that you should definitely be doing if you're going to play. And of course, the full written breakdown of the game here at Play Picks as well. Guys, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Let us know in the comments how you're playing the game, and good luck tonight.